Okay, now let's go through the strategies. There are 11 strategies that will help you go through your brand and build it the right way. The number one is master your current job and convey your expertise. Branding is like any strategic planning. You need to know where you are first to know where you want to go. If you don't know where you are and where you're starting, if you don't have inventory of who you are, your skills, and your talent, you're not going to be able to move forward. And that's why we did the SWOT, that's why we did the self-discovery, and that's why we did the self-branding exercise. You need to know where you are first, and then decide where you want to go, and how you're going to fill that gap. It's like a strategic planning. So to know where you are first, you need to master what you're doing right now. Be the best at what you do right now and share your expertise. What does that mean? Meaning that, do you have a passion for the job that you're in that makes you exceptional? Do you use your skills? Does it have any room for you to grow? Does it help you? Do people think about what people think about you? How are your performance evaluations? Do they say you are exceptional, you're good, or you need, how do they call it? Need improvement. So are you using all your skills and talent in that job? If any of these questions are no, you need to look why. Or if it's time for you to move to the other part. So how do you do that? So these are the key actions to actually master where you are now. The first thing is, look at your job description. Quantify the results. Look for what you do. So if you, check for example, if you improve training curriculums or training sessions, and that increase engagement of people to have developed and train and educate employees of the city of Burbank, look at the percentage that you increased, and that will be your achievement. Okay? Ask for regular feedback from your boss, from your employees. Does anyone have ever had a 360-degree assessment?
Oh, I do that now. Coaching from me too.
Exactly. A 360-degree assessment, a lot of government agencies like LA County is starting to do that. On your performance evaluation, it's not only your boss that assesses you. It's your colleagues, your subordinates, your vendors, your clients, everybody. 360 assessment. And this is the best assessment you can ever have, because it's like all around. Yes?
What about assessing yourself? Is that part of it?
It's part of it too. It's 360. You are the center, you start, and then 360, everybody around.
That's what I'm doing with my supervisor right now. She asked me to assess myself first, which is totally different than anything I've ever done.
Yes.
And it was totally awesome.
Jenna is amazing. Because remember, she comes from a strategic planning background.
Right.
So she has to assess where you are first. That's the first step. The first step is knowing where you are today. So you have to start by self-assessing yourself. And all these exercises that we are doing today is basically our self-assessment. Things that most of you tell me that I never thought about that before. You need to think about that. So the first thing, that you get feedback, you ask for more responsibility, you deliver everything, you're thorough, you deliver everything on time, and you know your company mission and values. So this is to define where you are today and be good at your current job. The second step is figure out the rules and politics of the game. Because there are always politics in the area that we are, so we need to figure out what are they so we can follow the rules. So this is what you do. You know what it takes to get promotion at your company or at your organization? Do you know what it takes? Do you know what people are looking for? Do you know how people get promoted in your department? Or you don't? If you don't, you need to find that out. And how do you do that? You take the responsibility and decide on what job do you want. Look at the responsibilities. Do you have the skills that can offer that? Or you still need to develop those skills? Do you need to take a course? Do you need to go back to school? What is it that you need to do to fill that gap? And talk to the people that have been promoted and look how they got promoted. You will learn more about that by asking other people. And then look at your soft skills. Communication, problem solving, marketable skills. All that are soft interpersonal skills. All that are soft skills that can be part of your package, of your branding package that you can move with to the next level. And then the next one is define and communicate your personal brand. So Do others in your organization see you for who you are? Do they look at your strengths? Like I heard a couple of people say, oh, I know what you do. So is that everywhere around you, or only that person because they just work close to you? Your brand, everybody should know, like if I know that someone has a violation in code that needs to be resolved in the best way possible, the first person that comes to my brain should be Ed. But this is how you should brand yourself, that you are the best at that. So the first person that I will think about is Ed. This is what I mean by brand. Like if I want to go and buy a car, and if I have money and I want a luxury car, I'm going to go and buy a BMW. That's the first thing that comes to my mind. So you have to be that point or that reference that people think about you when they think about certain things. If I want to think about someone that is the best at putting training together, it's Chuck, for example. And I'm talking only about people that I know because, I mean, I'm sure that each one of you is great at what they do, but you have to show it. So the first thing that I think about, oh, I have a very difficult customer on the line. Alvaro is the one that's going to be solving the problem. So, you know what I mean? We need to be known for something that will stand out. So you need to really look into yourself, what is it that you do best? Yes, Marissa, you need to think about that. So your brand is how you define, recognize yourself, is everything around you. Is your appearance, is how you answer the phone, how you appear, how your desk looks like. Is it organized or all over the place? I'm one of the people that always has a messy desk, but I know what everything else. It's not my best qualities, and I admit to that, so I can use more organization, for example. Okay, and then how you answer your phone, and how are you at office meetings, and how you are on social media. So the key action is evaluate what others say about you, define what makes you unique, demonstrate on everything you do, and start to show and tell everyone. So we always in branding come back about what is unique about you, what stands out about you, who's your audience, are you a solution or are you filling a gap? It's all, and how do you communicate? We all come back to that. Then this next one is influence your management. Make your manager love you to the point where there is a next promotion, you're the first one that comes to. And sometimes we have to bite a bullet, believe it or not. You know, we're not going to like everything that our boss say, but we need sometimes to take it with a grain of salt if this is going to get us where we want to be. And there is a way, and there is a way of saying things. Like my husband, like, is the kind that will say things as they are, because this is the truth. This is what's going on. Why should I beautify it? You know, you're not beautifying it, and it's not browning nose. It's just saying things in a different way. Like saying, instead of saying don't speed, you can say drive carefully. It's the same thing, but instead of saying something in a negative tone, you're saying it in a positive tone. It's just finding the right wording. So how do you do that? Do you depend on things that you have done in the past and you're sitting pretty over that, or you're still delivering? Do you contribute every day to your manager process or not? And this is what you can do. You need to communicate your success. You need to ask your manager how, or your boss, how they want the reports to be delivered. Do they want them today at 3 p.m.? Try to deliver them by 2. Properly done, the way they want it to be done. So you stay in their mind that you are very effective, that you do things the right way, that you listen, you don't have a problem with authority. You know, all that will become part of your brand. That you are very helpful, you know, that you finish your projects on time. Honor what you like to communicate and be upfront about it, and over-deliver. But over-deliver only by like 10%. So you leave more to be desired. Okay, so over-deliver. They always say, under-promise and over-deliver. Don't over-promise and under-deliver. So your brand should be that what you promise, you always deliver more than it. That should be part of your brand. The next one is creating time to develop a strategy. Like I said, it takes a long time. It's a job to brand yourself. So work on time to find time to promote yourself, get better at time management, Add more hours to your day to find your branding. So you can either wake up a little bit earlier, and I'm finding myself doing that more, half an hour earlier to add stuff, or cut on your TV, or sleep like half an hour later. Schedule time for promotion activities and honor it. And promotion activities can have part of networking like we were before. Be part of something. Be part of an organization inside the city, of a nonprofit. Let people know who you are. There are, and I know people in the city here that went for the same job. 3 of them that I know, they were the 3 of them, I could not really tell who's best because they were great. The one that got promoted was the one with more networking activities. The one that was known better. The one that his name or her name was better and people knew them. So it was easier for them to think about them for promotion. So it's about being known to others. What's wrong?
No,
And now getting started with your visibility. So your visibility is either online or offline, and we're going to talk about both. So getting started, you need to know what we call them SME. SME is subject matter expert. So whatever you do, you need to be expert. Why are you laughing?
Yeah, because there's way too many of those people.
Well, there are many to people that are genuine, and there are more that are non-genuine. But there are people that are genuine, that really know what they're doing, right?
Yeah, there are. Most of them don't have to speak it, though. You don't have to see it.
No, you don't.
It doesn't come out in words or stuff like that. It's in their actions. It's how they do their job or how they approach it.
How to demonstrate it, exactly, by delivering the results that should be delivered. So ways to be visible is to moonlight or to shadow someone, like we said, volunteer. If you have, I know someone that used to write like a newsletter here, you know. If there is a newsletter that goes around the city, volunteer to write an article or write a blog. That way your expertise becomes, even write your own blog. You don't even have to be part of a city, something, write your own. How many of you have a blog here? Who has a LinkedIn profile? Is it updated?
Yeah. LinkedIn is odd to me. I have people that I have no idea who they are.
Yeah, that's okay, but that's what LinkedIn is for. It's a networking.
Are you supposed to accept them?
Up to you get 500, yeah. Accept everybody, don't be discriminative, up to you accept 500. After 500, you can be selected.
But doesn't it like lose credibility if you're just like, sure,
Nope.
sure?
Nope.
They like don't know you.
This is what networking, social networking is. Because remember, LinkedIn is not about only the people you're connected to. There are 3 degrees of separation on LinkedIn. So the more you have as first level, like if you have 500, that means that you might have 5 million people in your network. And these are people that you can connect with that could be your next employer. Just delete LinkedIn.
Yeah.
I don't think I understand it. I will look into that.
There are 2 magical numbers in LinkedIn, 50 and 500. 50 means that your profile can be complete, and 500, and after 500, LinkedIn shows that you only have 500 plus. So people can trust you when you have 500. Like I have like 2,500 connections. You know what I mean? So it's about, and what is the level of your profile? You know, on the site it has like a circle. Is it all-star? Is it expert? Does anyone have an all-star profile? Okay. Maybe we need a session about LinkedIn.
Good idea.
I don't do that. I've been invited, but I don't.
Social media.
You know that the first year I started my business only 3.5 years ago. The first year on LinkedIn, I used only LinkedIn. I had 0 money for advertising. This is how I got interviewed in magazines, I got speaking gigs at conferences, I got contracts, I got hired to coach people overseas on the phone, and I got paid.
And you can tell sometimes people from organizations look at you. When
Yes.
they approach me.
People
I
that
notice
viewed your
that.
profile, yes.
And then they email you.
And
after
you know that there is something called passive candidates? Passive candidates is when you're not looking for a job, but recruiters are actually looking at your profile. I get offered at least 5 jobs every single month through LinkedIn. So it's something that you need to think about. part of your visibility and your credibility online. Blogs is the same thing. Blog is the best part that can share your ideas and your opinions and your expertise online as well. You can be part, the Chamber of Commerce, the Boys and Girls, the Salvation Army, they always have like monthly luncheon, Rotary clubs. Offer to go and speak during lunch. That will take away your public speaking. And they always look for free speakers. So they would love to have you as a speaker.
So now you need to teach us public speaking and social media.
I'm a Toastmaster. Toastmasters, by the way, is the best way to overcome your public speaking.
What is?
Toastmasters.
Oh yeah.
Toastmasters. There is a couple in Burbank here. So then you need to pretend you are the boss. Put yourself in their shoes and see why they're doing, understand why they're doing what they're doing. Even if you don't like your boss, even if you think they're doing things wrong in your book, that doesn't mean that they're doing things wrong. But in your book they are. So try to present who they are to see why they're doing that. So you can study what they appreciate, find their stories, notice who gets praised and why, and you evaluate the people in your department and then act from your boss's point of view. Because this what might be what's standing in your way actually to get promoted. Is to see if you're your boss idea. The next one is network offline and online. So offline we already talked about, organization events, being part of an association, industry networking event. Like engineering, they have a lot of associations for engineers that you can go and be part of it. Training, non-profits, whatever you come from as a background, they have associations for that. Be part of that. Like I told you, Kelly and me, we are on the board of Los Angeles Diversity Council. I do diversity, but it's good for Kelly because it basically puts her in front of other people, and she's part of the board and she's the communication chair. So she does the communication and then basically lets everybody know, oh, she's great at communication. So that's part of her branding. I'm also on a board of something else that used to be called NAR, National Association of African American HR. So it's about getting yourself out there, putting your face in front of people. Chamber of Commerce, nonprofit events, all that is offline. Online is social media, and I want you to remember that social media is a two-way street. So it's a dialogue, and it's not about only you talking and talking and talking. It's about actually creating a conversation. You need to claim your profiles on all of the social medias. Even if you don't use them, start by claiming your profile. Claiming your profiles meaning that you say on Facebook, this is my name, this is my profile. You go on LinkedIn, this is my name, this is my profile. On Twitter, there is a site that's called Noam, this one, .com. It brings like 1,000 sites together to tell you if your name is available or not. And that's how you can go and claim your profiles. And not only does that good to you so no one can hijack your brand, but also it helps Google to find you. Because remember, branding online is all about being found on Google. So this is Noam. Your email address, I see that a lot. Resumes that are sent for jobs and the emails are like macho man at Hotmail, sexy mama at Gmail, hot tamales at Yahoo. I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding. You know what I mean? So just like one of the email addresses of my husband is Praise Joe. Okay, so it just like that tells you people do think it's okay if it's for fun, and with your friends or whatever. But if you're applying for a job, be serious about it. And that's a big mistake. Use your email address properly. So put your first name and last name. If it's taken, put a middle initial in your email address. On LinkedIn, post presentations. There is LinkedIn, there is SlideShare that you need to post to show your expertise. Blog. Be on Foursquare. Foursquare is something that you add on your phone and you tell your friends where you are so it increases basically your visibility online. I know social media is it's a whole subject, that we can talk about later on. This is social media is about building your influence and building trust. And the way you do it is you educate your audience even if it's not about you. Like I post a lot of articles about diversity, about leadership, about acceptance, about empathy. even if I'm not the one that wrote them, but I'm offering information for people. So when someone thinks about diversity, oh, let me go and see what she has. So I become a source of influence. I become what is called, without me saying it, an authority figure online. And I'm not saying that about me, this is how it's called online. An authority figure, meaning they know that this is the domain that you speak at, or this is the domain that you are an expert as. And it took me a year to build that. This is called reputation online. It took me a year to build that, working every day for hours to get that achievement. Now I'm like on autopilot because I already built that online. It's about giving information. It's about basically telling your story. So be social, reserve your name, have a Google profile. It's very important to have a Google profile. And you can go on Google and build a profile, a personal profile. If you use a picture, you need to post, for LinkedIn, you have to have a picture on LinkedIn. Use a professional picture, a professional headshot. Don't have your dog in the picture. Don't have your children. Don't be on a beach having a suntan. LinkedIn is a professional network. You can use that on Facebook, but you cannot use it on LinkedIn. But if you want a professional profile online, the same picture has to be everywhere. Brand has to be a consistent one. The same vision and mission has to be all over. So it has to be consistent on all the align. And seek out, look for recruiters on LinkedIn and ask them to connect. Look for managers, look for organizations to follow that you want to work in. Join groups that are in your industry. Contribute to the conversation. Build those relationships. So you can build relationships and network offline and online. So like we see here. So the next one is reputation management. Who Google searched their name online?
Their own name?
Only 3 people. You do 5, 6.
I think that there's like a million of the same names. It's hard to find.
That's why you need to brand yourself. And by branding yourself, start using a middle initial.
I do, and still 50 people with the same initial name as me.
Do you use Charles?
Charles T. Bishop.
Charles, what about Chuck?
I've tried that too. Still a lot.
With middle initial?
Probably not.
Try Chuck middle initial last name and see how it's gonna be. So you need to Google your name at least once a month. I had a client that said, I don't do anything online. I will never be there. I said, you sure? They said, yeah. So I Googled the name, 4 pages came up. Because people can be talking about you this minute, and you don't even know. And whatever they're saying can be great, and whatever they're saying can be really damaging your reputation. That would actually prevent you from getting your next promotion, and you don't even know. So you always need, there is something called Google Alerts. It's google.com/alerts. You can put your name in there, and if anyone mentions your name online, an email will be sent to you to tell you that this person is talking about you. So this is part of what we say reputation management. You need to manage your profile online. And then the embrace grace, meaning that we all go through hard time, we all go through missteps, we all have chaos or disappointed, is how you come out through these obstacles and how you show people that you have grace in doing what you have, that you don't succumb under pressure, that you don't have stress. So what you do is you apply the stress management strategies, that you learn emotional intelligence and empathy. Empathy is huge. Empathy is putting yourself on other people's shoes. And so this way you can react to people in a kinder way, and it will become part of your brand, and be positive. The next one is be ready to ask for the job. And this is like the icing on the cake. You can do all that. I believe in one thing. You don't ask, you don't get. So you have to be able, I remember that the first job I ever had, I went to someone, and she had a big consulting firm, and I was barely starting. I just had my LLC done, and I'm like, okay, let me jump into the water. So I went to that person, and I told her, I know you have a big consulting company. I'm starting, so I need some help. I would love to come and shadow you to learn how you process. You do the instructional designer, all that. I need to shadow you to see what you do. She said, it was a Thursday. She said, you know what? I was actually looking for someone to help me on Monday with a big account. Let's discuss, let's meet on the weekend, I'll show you what I want and I'll pay you for that. And that was my first job. If I didn't ask, I wouldn't have started. So you need to ask. Ask to get. This is how you have to do it. So what does that mean? They say, LinkedIn research say that January, June, and July are the best months to get promotions in the United States. So in order for you to ask, you need to articulate why you deserve to be promoted. You need to let your boss will not read your mind that you want to be promoted. They might think that you're just satisfied where you are, so you need to let them know that you want to be promoted, so they can at least help you. So always be ready. Have your talking points ready. That means your USP, your elevator pitch, your SWOT. Practice your elevator pitch, and then adapt your message, and then ask. These are success tips. Don't complain or whine all the time. Consider, like we said, lateral movements. Increase your network. Always find a place where you can grow. If you can't grow in your department, look for another department. Find mentors. Mentors are very important because they will help you. And mentors will not tell you what to do, but they will kind of help you go to the next level. And it's okay to have more than one mentor. At this second, I have 3 different mentors in different areas of my life. So you can have, and people will love to mentor you. People love to help people. So just ask. Again, ask, you will get. Always be volunteer at local, embrace change and take risks. Plan for your next job the minute you get a new job. The day you get a new job, plan for your next one. Because it can happen in a year, in 2 years, and 3 years. And self-branding is not only when you need it, but it's actually about having it done all the time. Resumes. The resumes are not your traditional resume anymore. They are actually a marketing brochure. So the resume, they don't have that executive summary on the top anymore. They have what we call an objective summary. Because you know what? When someone receives your resume, all what they see is the first half page on a screen. So think about that. So your best foot has to be forward in the first half page of your resume. Give them an enticement to scroll down and read the rest of your resume. So in the first part of your resume, put what is it that you're good at, part of your elevator pitch and part of your value proposition. And then put the skills. Now they put the skills in order not to, like in bullet points, but put them in 3 columns. So it looks neat and short instead of taking like a page. And put all the skills that you have. And the skills can be effective communication, conflict resolution, project management, analytical details, problem solving, team building, leadership. All that are part of your skills that you need to mention on your resume. Remember, it's a marketing brochure. It's not a 2-page thing that everybody knows your job title. Everybody knows your job description. It's not about that. It's about what is it that you do to accomplish that job description. What did you contribute? Did you increase profit or did you decrease expense? And by how much? Quantify everything you do in your resume. So you need to have, and always your accomplishment has to show the benefits that you do to the employer, and always detail your resume based on the job that you're going to present. So it's not 1 page or 2 pages that you present to everybody. And it has 3 parts. Part 1 on the top, you have to have your name, your address, your email, and a lot of people like to see your LinkedIn profile. And just as an advice, on the footer, always have your name, the page number, and your email address. Do we know why we do that? In case your pages of resume get separated, they won't know who you are unless you have your name and your email and your phone number and the page number so they can put it back together. Okay? So in the footer, always have your name, your email, and page number. Part 1 has your name, customize your resume, put a summary, which we talked about. Part 2, experience, quantify, and part 3, support documents. Education goes at the end, especially if you have been on the job for more than 10 years. No one really cares about education that much anymore, about more than the value that you offer. But I know that certain job will tell you, we need an MBA or a PhD from an elite school. But if not, if they don't ask for that, education is the last thing that you can put on your resume. You know, unless they require a certain degree for that job. If not, you can just put it at the end and just barely mention it. The font that you use, 8 size font is too small. 11 is okay. 14 is too big. Don't use, for example, Time New Romans font. It's what we call serif font, and they don't like to see. It's not readable on the computer. So use Tahoma, Verdana, Arial, what we call sans serif font on a resume. Have a lot of white space around you so people can actually see it. PDF it. When you send an email, do not send it in Word, because you don't know what are the settings on the other person's computer, and it will become a mishmash. It won't look good. So your resume, do it as an acrobat, like a PDF file, and send it as a PDF electronic file. So the way you send it is the way they see it. And have a header and footer, and have a cover letter. Cover letter is not repeating your resume. Cover letter has the contact information, what job, and a brief paragraph to why you are applying for a job. And it's not only that. This is what the cover letter has to have: the core benefits, the basic of what you do, the minimum expectation that's expected for the job, the value, and the potential. You need to convince them that you are the right candidate for the job. And the cover letter is usually small. So you can put like 5 bullet points of what you are really good at, you know, and what you're passionate about, and see it. And I want you to know that the cover and resume just get your foot in the door. What really makes the difference is your interview and your interviewing skills. Needed skills, people look for this. Look for people that take responsibility of what they do. Because you know what? Sometimes they will ask you in an interview, what are your weaknesses? What is it that you did wrong at one time? And how did you solve it? So you need to be prepared for all that. People will say, they're not going to ask you anymore, what is your job? Because it's already on the resume. They will ask you a lot of personal questions. Of course, there are personal questions that they can ask you, like your age, your religion, your ethnicity, if you are married or not. They will not ask you all that. But there are questions that, like I said in the beginning, talk about yourself. You need to be prepared for that. Deadline, that you meet deadline, that you're good at handling pressure, that you have good writing skills, communicating skills, speaking, presentation skills is very important these days. Team building, budgeting skills, negotiating skills, customer service skills. These are all very important skills for you to mention on a resume. Because now people are looking for someone that doesn't only does the job, but can also reach across the board to other departments. We hear a lot of cross-functional teams now. So you have to have that adaptability and flexibility to get out of your shell and reach out and communicate well with people with different backgrounds and different jobs and different experiences and different cultures. So this is a summary of what we said today. We want you to know where you are. Be authentic, your values, identify your passion, personality, and how others see you. This is step 1. Step 2, where you want to be. So that's your goal, where you want to be. Determine the aspect of your life that have been rewarding, what gives you satisfaction in your next one. Narrow down the aspects of potential vision, because you just now need, okay, this is the general, and now I need to narrow it down. Create an ideal career ending. You know what Stephen Covey said? He said, start with the end in mind. Meaning you need to know, in retiring, where you want to be, and you build it backwards. If you have a chance to read The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey, please do. It will really change your life. Look for inspiration and bios of people that you admire and see what they have done. Like when I started being an entrepreneur, I read like Mark Cuban bio. I read it. You know, I read bios of Martin Luther King, of Gandhi, the people that I admire most, that I want to be like them. I read their bio to learn new things from them. I do a lot of reading just to learn. And take steps back from career ending to the present. Like I said, look where you want to end and go backwards.